Welcome to the Growth Through Adversity podcast, where men are forged, not coddled. Here we dive deep into the path of true transformation in pursuit of physical, mental, spiritual, and temporal growth. We talk training, nutrition, business, mindset, and spirituality. We embrace strength and we loathe ease. We reject weakness in every form and cultivate power, the will to power itself. This is the rebirth of modern man. Raw masculinity, tempered by reason, virtue, and right action, because nothing of value is earned without sacrifice. Let's begin our apotheosis together. Welcome to another episode of the Growth Through Adversity podcast with your host, Ragnar the Werewolf. What is happening, everybody? I hope everybody is having a fantastic Wednesday afternoon. So, going through check-in notes and things of that variety, notice that common struggle that people are having is, kind of getting discouraged when things aren't going exactly their way when it comes to training. Like, for example, I hear it all the time, like start super strong. The weight comes off really fast in the beginning. It slows down over time. People start to get frustrated. The truth is that this is a super normal part of the journey, right? And the unfortunate part of it is the more and more advanced that you get, the worse that this is going to get, right? So as you climb the tier of from beginner to intermediate to elite lifter, or athlete, more and more you're going to stop seeing as fast returns on your time in the gym. It's just the way that it works. Your body becomes more and more conditioned, and it takes more and more stimulus to get you where you want to be. Now it's a party. Now everybody's showing up. You guys have not missed anything. We are literally just starting out. This is the first slide here. So again, to kind of recap for you guys, we're talking about, kind of staying consistent even when, things aren't going perfectly. And as I was saying, like, this is something that's going to happen more and more as you kind of climb the ladder from beginner to intermediate to more advanced lifter. Your progress is going to get slower and slower over time. It's totally normal part of the journey. And another thing is, like, I don't even like the word motivation. Motivation, it's not a legitimate strategy. Believe me, I hear it all the time. I hear it in my DMs all the time. I hear it on calls all the time. And it's like, I just need inspiration. I need motivation. And it's like, no, you don't. You need a system, and you need discipline, and you need to just execute. And the reason being is that motivation it's a feeling, it's an emotion, right? And because it's a feeling and because it's an emotion, we don't have a lot of control over. These things are dysregulated. So some days we're motivated, we feel great. You know what I mean? Going to the gym, we're excited about it, like we're pumped up, we're ready. Other days we sleep like shit, we feel like shit, we just don't want to go. But we go anyways. That's discipline. Discipline is something that you control and that you can train, you can cultivate. Like a muscle, you can make it stronger and better over time. So, like, I know everybody in this group today there's been a time where there was a hard thing that you had to do, and you didn't just not do it because you weren't motivated. You fucking did it anyways, right? And your training has to be the same way. If you can just apply that same principle that you apply at work and in other areas of your life to the gym. And the cool thing is that you'll then get better at it in the gym, and you'll be able to translate it to those other areas of your life as well. So today like I said, we're dismantling the motivation myth, and we're replacing it with something you can control, which is discipline, systems, and structure. So again, motivation is an emotion. It's driven by the dopaminergic reward system. So the same thing that rewards you when you have sex or do drugs or drink alcohol or do anything that makes you happy or makes you feel good. It's your dopaminergic circuitry. It's there in your brain to reward you for the things that your brain perceives as necessary for survival or increasing your likelihood to survive and reproduce is the origins of that circuitry. We've kind of hijacked it with sugar and drugs and all kinds of crazy stuff in modernity, but there's a reason for all of this circuitry. It's neurobiology. It's not a weakness. Motivation is driven by, again, it's driven by neurobiology. Your brain is literally designed to pursue novelty and pull back when returns feel distant. So in plain English, like you're gonna feel motivated about starting. You're gonna feel good about starting. It's like it's a new journey, it's novel, it's like a new relationship, it's exciting. And your brain is going to reward you for that through this dopaminergic circuit. And but what's going to happen is your brain doesn't necessarily naturally reward you for the sustained effort, right? So that's why motivation evaporates after the first couple of weeks, literally of anything. Relationships are the same way, you know what I mean? And then it becomes you have to make an effort and you have to continue to work at it because, you know, the circuitry in your brain is no longer rewarding you for every second of the day just because it's new. Not to say that it's not rewarding in its own way and in different ways. You just kind of have to tap into that. So what kills people is that, you know, something like, so this, you know, dopaminergic reward circuit starts to peter off and then something happens, whether it's like the holiday funk, you hit a plateau, you get sick, you know what I mean? And you have to take a week or two off from training. And then we get into this like, and then we get into this loop where like 1 week becomes 2 weeks, you know, or we start missing a couple workouts, turns into we start missing more and more, and then it's like weeks turn into multiple weeks, turn into months. That is the true enemy. I've done this for a very long time, and I've watched that derail more people than anything else. So that is what you have to be ever vigilant for because it's there. It's I mean, it is the story that 90% of people that can't get in shape tell, right? Is like, man, I tried and it just, you know, and then I fell off and I got busy and other things happened and it just didn't work. So that's the battle right there, right? And it's like there's this cool quote, and I don't remember who made it, but it's like motivation gets you started, discipline keeps you going, right? And I believe that 100%. Like motivation, it's great for like starting the engine, getting you to take action, to snap out of like the place that you're at and be like, fuck this. I'm not happy with this. I need to do something. But it's not gonna be there for the whole journey. Trust me, it's not there for me all the time. There's some mornings where that alarm goes off at 0400 and I'm like, fuck that. Like there's nothing I want to do less than get out of the bed and go to the gym. But I do it anyways because it's just like it's a habit, it's a pattern, it's something I do. And then once I get there, I get warmed up, I enjoy it, I feel good, and afterwards I feel fantastic. And I would hate myself if I skipped it and just slept. So the cool thing about discipline is it is a skill, right? It's not a trait you're born with. It's literally it's trained just like a muscle with the same ideas: progressive overload, consistency, and recovery, right? So just, you know, doing it, overloading it, doing more and more of it, being consistent about it, and then, you know, giving yourself periodic breaks and letting your body recover from it so it doesn't feel like you're miserable all the time. Right. So the plateau problem, right? This is something that I see quite a bit. This was actually what kind of spurred the motivation for this, you know, going through check-ins. This is something I hear pretty regularly is, you know, we see those really good initial fast results and then like hit a plateau and it's like and then that kind of like starts to get into your mind, right? It starts to kind of fuck with your mindset and you're like, man, you know, I'm doing all this stuff and I'm not seeing the same results I was seeing. What am I doing wrong? What do I need to change? And the truth of the matter is like you don't need to change anything. You're not doing anything wrong. This is a normal this is like a totally normal part of a weight loss journey or a training journey, a muscle building journey, a strength journey. And physiological adaptation is normal. It's what the human organism is designed to do. It's designed to physiologically adapt to new stimulus, right? And so in the beginning, like training is new stimulus. So for the first couple months, it's like you're slapping 10 pounds on the bar every week. The weight is peeling off, like everything is moving in the right direction super fast. And that's because it's all super new and your body's not used to anything, right? So all of it is like this massive new novel stimulus on your body. And so you get these really fast, you know, strength gains and you get these really fast hypertrophy gains and you get these really fast fat loss gains, depending on kind of where on the spectrum you're at, right? For some people, right? Um, as you slow down, it's not a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that you're actually getting more advanced and more elite, and your body is recalibrating and adapting to the new stimulus. So it's actually a very good thing, although most people interpret it as negative. So it's like, you know, I can't stress it enough. Like as a beginner, you can expect to, you know, add 5 to 10 pounds to the bar every week. You know, you have this really fast progress. 6 months in, you're going to be fighting to put a pound or two on the bar. You know what I mean? Over the course of a month, a year in, 2 years in, you're going to celebrate a 5 pound PR over a quarter. It gets more and more like, I spent almost I spent almost 2 years trying to go from 305 on the bench press to 315. So, you know what I mean? And that's with the right training, the right nutrition, the right, you know what I mean? The right everything, the right recovery. And it took me 2 years to go from that 305 mark to the 315 mark on the bench press. And it was frustrating, but at the same time, I was never once discouraged because I knew I was putting in the work. I knew eventually it would pay off. And I just know that I'm nearing my personal body's physical limits. At the end of the day, is what it comes down to, is like I'm nearing the point where my body is just like getting to the point where, yeah, it can get stronger, but it's going to take a very long time to get there. And that's okay. It's not regression. Again, it's advancement, right? When I was new, I went from, 135 to 205 very fast. So it's just, it's a game of inches at the longer you play it, right? And there's a ton of research. I won't go into all the studies about it, but there's a ton of research that supports it. And it's just something you're going to have to deal with, right? Physiological adaptation is a normal part of the game. So don't keep measuring yourself against your day one metrics. You're because you're using a broken ruler, because the whole dynamic, the whole paradigm of the game has shifted, right? And it's going to continue to change over time. I can't tell you enough that advanced athletes, they don't have faster progress. They just have a higher tolerance for slow progress, right? Like I said, as you get higher and the more elite you get at anything, the slower the returns are going to be. So just, really anchor onto that. It's not about having slower progress, or it's not about having faster progress. It's the people that have a higher tolerance for slower progress are ultimately going to go further than the people that just see the fast results and are like, oh, cool, cool. And then when they peter off, they just give up, right? So be in that first category because the results are going to be slower over time. And then the next like thing that I can't stress enough, and this is something I believe vehemently, like fall in love with the process and the journey. Like I love going to the gym. I love lifting weights. I love doing MMA training. Like these are things I genuinely enjoy. Um that makes it easy to just stay consistent because it doesn't necessarily matter if I don't see progress every day, every week, every month, although I'm competitive. I like seeing progress. But at the same time, like I just like going to the gym. I like lifting weights. It makes me happy. It helps me process other things in my life that are stressful and frustrating. It's kind of my time away from people and from, I can just put my music in and I just enjoy that process. You know what I mean? And like, but that's something that's learned. I don't know necessarily if I always loved it, but it's something that over time it's became more and more a part of myself, more and more like an escape from other things. So if you can not focus on the destination and instead focus on the journey, on falling in love with the journey, you're going to walk farther. The person that loves to walk just walks further than the person that has a destination in mind, right? And quite literally, like every elite athlete, everybody operating at a high level of anything, you know what I mean? They have learned to fall in love with the process, not the destination, because they're parts of the process. And that doesn't mean you have to love every single part of the process. You're not gonna, but you have to love the process overall, and you have to really enjoy it because like because that's the only way that you're going to stick with it over time, right? It's like if you're just also there is no destination with something like this. Like you get to one destination and all it does, you hit 315 on the bench and now it's like, oh well, that's cool. Now I want to hit 335. You know what I mean? A lot of people can bench 315. How many people can bench 335? How many people can bench 405? And there's no reason to it. It's just once you hit one destination, it just opens up the next five, and then once you hit those, they open up the next five until eventually, your body starts to go the other way and and then it becomes like a maintenance thing, then, and you can enjoy that too, of like slowing down, winning slowly, losing the war to time slower. I almost said winning the war to time, but nobody does, but losing the war to time slower and more on your terms. So there's like really cool, there's all kinds of really cool, people have been writing about falling in love with the journey since the beginning of time. The journey itself is my home. That's Matsu Bacho. Waste no time, no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. That's Marcus Aurelius. These are all kind of alluding to the same thing we're talking about here, which is just learn to love the process, learn to love the journey, and just do it. Just do it and learn to like it over time. And you're going to make it so much further than people that are just hyper focused on some singular destination that once they reach that destination, they're going to realize it's irrelevant anyways. And it just opens the door for a bunch more destinations. And then number 5 here, building the discipline system, practical implementation. So I'm big on giving you guys like things that you can practically implement. I don't like just giving you theory. So this is kind of like the practical side of it, right? So number 1, discipline is built on identity, not outcomes. So what that means is don't focus on the outcome. Don't say I'm trying to lose weight. Think in your head instead that I'm someone who trains and eats right. Now, this has been something that has been a game changer with me of just reframing that. Don't focus on the outcome, focus on the identity. You know what I mean? And then, the outcome follows. If you become the person, if you imbue that identity, the outcome will follow. So that's been something that has personally helped me. Um, and then like also, goals are great. Goals, we need goals. We need to set goals regularly, but we also need to have the systems that determine that you actually get there. So building a repeatable system is the key. Whatever routine this is that makes it work in your life with meal prep, with training, with, what I mean, with all of these things that you need to do, you have to create some kind of repeatable system that you can do for a very, very long time. This is going to be personalized to you. I have my own. You know what I mean? I am a get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go to the fucking gym guy, because if I don't do it then, I'm probably not going to do it throughout the day because I'm going to get super busy. Right now it's 5:20 and I'm nowhere near done working. And there is absolutely no reality where after all this shit, I'm going to the gym. It's not going to happen. I just know myself. I'll just say, fuck that. I'll do it tomorrow or whatever. But if I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, although I don't particularly love getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I can get back and I'm done by 8 o'clock and I'm at my desk working by 8 o'clock and I feel really good about that. And then my evening's also open to spend with my wife, which is another important part of why I don't want to go to the gym at 5 p.m. Plus, I can't stand people. There's so many fucking people in the gym at 5 p.m. It is like a jungle in there. So also remove the friction from the process. So anybody in sales, so there's a principle in sales that you want to have the minimal amount of friction from point A to point B. So if a customer walks into your shop, you want to have the minimal amount of friction between them grabbing a product and walking up to the register and buying it. You don't have them go to another desk and remove the tag and go to this desk and stamp something on it, like, because people aren't going to fucking do that because we have the attention span of gnats. So the minimal amount of friction from point A to point B increases sales. Amazon is a master at this. They added a single button 4 or 5 years ago, where instead of adding it to your cart, you can buy now. You can get onto the product, you can hit buy now. That increased their revenue by like 40% because it removed the friction of putting it in the cart, going to the cart, looking at the cart and saying, hey, am I really going to spend $300 on fucking socks and underwear on Amazon or whatever dumb shit we buy on Amazon? I buy some dumb shit on Amazon. And it made it to where they can just hit buy now, buy now, buy now. And that increased their fucking revenue by 40% because they reduced that tiny little bit of friction of having to go to your cart. So the same thing applies to your fucking training. Don't make it this super high friction process. Don't, have to go home after you're done with a super long, stressful day at work. And then, the wife's asking you a million fucking questions. Your kids are asking you questions. You got to pack your gym bag because you didn't pack it. Then you're just going to be like, fuck this. I don't want to go because you added too much friction to it. So pack the gym, pack your bag the day before, have it in your car, go right from work to the gym, whatever it takes to reduce the friction in your own process. Reduce the friction in the process, and you will be more effective at the process, right? And then accountability over inspiration. So again, inspiration, it's just like motivation. It's external, it's inconsistent. Accountability is structural, right? And whether this is a coach, you know what I mean, somebody that's going to hold you accountable, whether it's a training partner, a logged protocol, accountability looks very different for very different people. But what really matters is that it's an external system outside of yourself that holds you to the standard that you have set and you have agreed upon, even when your internal motivation collapses, even when you don't want to uphold that standard. So some kind of external force there as for accountability is definitely key in this. And that doesn't go away at any level. I still like having a coach, you know what I mean? And I very well know what the fuck to do in the gym, but it just comes down to that, like, on those days where I'm like, hey, I don't want to get, it's done. I don't want to go do another walk at 7 o'clock at night. I'm like, then I have to fucking put in the thing that I only got, then I have to put in my log that I only got 6,000 steps and I feel like a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Because I told my coach I'd get 10,000 steps. So it's stupid little stuff like that, but it makes a difference. You know what I mean? And plus, they just a coach pushes me harder than I'll push myself. They did in MMA, they do today. It's not that I'm not capable of pushing myself. It's that, man, when it's somebody else that doesn't, that just doesn't give a fuck and is just like, you need to go do this to get the best result. They're emotionally detached from how I feel about it, and they're just objectively seeing the situation, which helps. So it doesn't matter what that external motivation looks like, but you need some kind of external accountability. And then the feedback loop. So what I notice people fuck up on is because all of my clients are pretty good about tracking their metrics. For the most part, some of you guys are a little bit suspect, but for the most part, you guys do pretty good tracking calories, tracking steps, tracking, you know what I mean? The basic stuff, you don't need to track every single thing, workout sets, reps, that kind of stuff. Basic stuff. Most of you guys are pretty good about that. So, but what I do notice is that it's like you look at it on a very tiny scale. So it's like day to day, week to week. And I see this in, like, I do business coaching too for one of the big organizations online, and I see that in a lot of the newer coaches on there too. Is that like they get caught up in the week or the month, and it's like, well, what did your revenue do over the last quarter? You know what I mean? Oh, it went up 30%. So you're growing quarterly. Okay, cool. Well, that's a much healthier metric. Of course, you're gonna have good months, you're gonna have bad months, you're gonna have bad weeks, you're gonna have good weeks. Don't fucking panic every time you have one or the other. Absolutely same goes for fitness. Look at it on a bigger time horizon, zoom out. That's what I always tell people, zoom out. Where were you when you began compared to now? Where were you a year ago? Where were you 2 years ago? Use those longer time horizon frames of reference to look at things. And I promise it will put things into a whole different perspective. Like literally all you have to do is zoom out and look at where you were a year ago compared to where you're at now. And you're going to feel a whole lot better about the progress that you're making. So zoom out. Don't get caught up on the day to day. That shit fluctuates. I also noticed that with weights. Like, oh my god, man, yes, weight fluctuates. It goes up, it goes down. Mine does it. Some days I'm 195, some days I'm 190. So, that's normal. What I want to watch is either a trend if I'm trying to build. Am I slowly trending up? Sometimes I'll dip down, sometimes I'll go up. If I'm trying to cut, am I slowly trending down, over time? We're watching trends over the course of weeks and months. It is a much healthier metric. So ultimately, man, if you train right and if you only trained right and you only ate right when you felt motivated, maybe 40% of the time, that's not enough to get you where you want to be, right? It's not enough. You got to do at least 80. You got to do at least 75, right? So that's like a hobby. In fighting, we used to call those guys weekend warriors. They'd come in and like train on the weekends, but they weren't like really, they didn't want to fight. They weren't taking fights. They weren't actually serious about it. So it's like that's a hobby. That's something that recreational, you're not super serious about it. The elite performance and the results that you want really lie in that other 50% that's left on the table, right? Aside from motivation, that's the gap you need to fill. Like literally the gap between you and your goals is just the discipline gap. If you can stay disciplined and you can cultivate discipline and train yourself to be disciplined, ultimately like you are going to reach your goals just through consistency, just literally through stubborn consistency. If you do something long enough on a long enough time horizon, you're going to get good at it. Like I promise you that. And you're going to make progress and you're going to get where you need to go. And you're going to figure out what works for your body. And you're going to figure out all the little ins and outs and the little idiosyncrasies and go through all the different phases and cycles. And, there's a lot that goes into transformation and changing and long-term health and longevity and bone density and muscle building and all the things that we're trying to cultivate here. So yeah, like that's the gap you need to focus on closing is that discipline gap. And I'm not calling anybody out here like literally my client, you guys are fucking awesome. And you guys are super consistent. You're on a new journey. It's a new process for a lot of you guys. You know what I mean? Or you've started and stopped and but you haven't had like good, consistent long-term training for a long time. So just telling you from experience, having worked with hundreds and hundreds of men, what I have seen over the years is that closing that discipline gap and just making this something that's just like a habitual pattern and just part of who you are, is going to be like, and sticking to it long term, not just the first few months, when it's new and exciting, but like really grinding it out year in, year out, and just making it a part of your life. That's where the real glory lies, man. That's where the real benefit lies. So, um, that's all I got. My little TED talk here. I'm gonna unshare my screen, and if anybody has any questions, you are free to unmute yourself and ask. It doesn't have to necessarily be about this. It can be about anything. But yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I'll hang out here for a couple of minutes. See if I got any written questions over here too. Sometimes these guys drop. Yep. On and off forever. Yeah, I got one guy here said he's been on and off forever. That's unfortunate, man. It's actually super common though.
Hey Ragnar,
What's up, man?
not much. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing fucking fantastic.
Well, that was awesome. Really liked it. Our metrics,
Yep.
where we began and where we are today.
Yep.
I think I saw on your computer one time that you have like you've laid it out on a graph, so you can be like, I was like, man, I really don't think that I've done this or this or this, and you're like, dude, do you realize you started with this waste and you're here, you started here, you started here. Um, is that something that we could request a little bit, everyone? I mean, I know that would blow you up if you had to do it a lot, but could we like every once in a while say, I mean, is that something easy to ship out or for
Yeah,
us to
it's
get?
not. It's a spreadsheet. So and we track the basic ones in there. So like starting weight, starting waist measurement, you know what I mean? All that stuff. Yeah, we have ground zero start point. So that's what that was. I think that was the conversation is like, you were like, I
Yeah,
don't remember what my waist measurement. I was like, well, I can pull it up. It was like 45 inches. You're at like 38 now or 36 or whatever it is. It's like you've lost 9 inches of your waist, like it's a crazy amount of change in the stomach. But yeah, no,
yeah.
I have that. You guys can request it anytime. It's not a super complex problem. If you send it to me in a message in True Coach, I can just go and get your whatever original numbers you're looking for. Also, you have access to your weight charts that have your whole weight. If you click on the weight section in there, and if not, I can always screenshot the one from my admin profile and send it to you. But because it
The
matches.
weight section, like when I'm working out at the gym, I can scroll back and see what I did yesterday or Wednesday or Monday or a week ago, but I'm sure I could keep scrolling and keep
You
scrolling
can
and keep
see
scrolling, but
Yeah, you can
it's
see, you can scroll all the way back on every exercise to the very beginning in True Coach.
okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah, so you
I
totally can.
wondered
And I
about that.
meant the weight chart that looks like if I pull up, I'm just doing check-ins earlier today and I noticed his was like really massive. So I'll show you Kevin's. But like if I pull up, oh, I guess I should share my screen. So yeah, this weight chart. I'm not sure if it presents it as a chart like this for you too, but you can always just ask me and I can literally like, I mean, it takes me, you know, 2 seconds to screenshot this and drop it into a chat for you. Like it,
Okay. Okay.
you know what I mean?
Well,
It's nothing. And then you can see like, so he started at 387, he's down to 352 now.
okay. We all know everything that you already do for us and how many hours you put in a day. So I'm not trying to load you with, 100 of us saying, "Hey, we need blah 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 blah." I just, every once in a while, like maybe once a year, be kind of. I think that would be motivating. Might not be the right word, but when we start getting into that, man, really not making progress. Oh, really? You want to see where you started? Do you remember?
It's actually a great idea. Maybe like a quarterly report or a biannual report, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Cool.
really not a whole lot of a hassle getting it. So if you guys are ever curious, just message me and ask, and I can get you whatever you're looking for between Ryan and I. Like I said, it's all in it's all in one spreadsheet in one place. So it's pretty easy to find. We keep it pretty organized.
Okay. Well,
But
you do a
I've
lot
made a note
for
about
us.
that. That's a good idea. We'll start doing like either a quarterly or like a biannual report and just kind of mapping it out for you so you kind of see where you started and where you're at now.
Right. Well, you do a lot for us. So I'm
All,
very satisfied with everything you're already doing for us. So
all
I don't want to add more work to you.
always looking for ways to find more, man.
You stay up another few hours, huh?
Yeah, it's good for me.
All right. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. I don't think we got any other questions. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Replay will be up in the group probably in 2 days and in the portal and in probably closer to 4 or 5. You guys have a fantastic rest of your night, and I will see you next week, if not sooner. Oh, also, Alaska guys, Hookin, if you're listening, not this weekend, next weekend, we're going to be at the Sheep Creek Campground. It is a wedding anniversary thing. All my clients are welcome there. It's very informal. We're just going to hang out there for a couple of days, but you guys are welcome to pop in if you want to. We got the whole campground, so you can camp, you can hang out. That, like I said, invitation is open to anybody who wants to make it out. All right.